Green Bar said him look on the pitch them and them poor, but then you drive down the road and you see some golf course clean. So like we just need to get Rosal and Riot and them people that invest in some football field.
And that's what I say, take the cultural reset, because you gotta do something for the white man can come play some golf. But there's nothing for the country can get better than football. And I see maintenance with that thing.
All races play golf, but I get your point. Yes, folks, it's episode 2 in our series, and we have the Formidable 3 back again for episode 2. That's right, I'm Simon Preston, and to my immediate left, it is none other than Jamal Tucker. Jamal, all is well?
Yeah, man, I'm doing all right.
Great, good to see you. Look, the jerseys.
Yeah, but Jeff never get the memo.
Yeah, and we also have Jeff as well. Jeff, all is well?
I'm feeling very formidable, Simon. You know it go. Yeah, I wear my jersey one day, you know, but get a little feature in the streets. But when we have to wear it good and get like a full shoot in there, you know. I believe in a Jamaica, I believe in a Reggae Boyz, I believe in a Three Stripes. So you got myself Adidas, send me the away kit right now.
Yeah. How did it feel though? Did it feel like snug?
Yo, I mean, first of all, I got the large. My size was the medium, so I could get the medium. The medium, no touchdown in our country, you know it go. Our thing top secret, you know, you see it, Simon. You know, our thing different, you know, 876 Extreme Link, stinking, bro. You know, but I don't know, it feel nice. It feel like a jersey, you know. It feel international. It feel World Cup-ish, you know.
There's a couple people I wear over the weekend, and I see them and say, yo, Jano, that just seem official. You get me? Like, it's just a jersey, you know, but it just seem like I expect them to run out now, go play for some ball or something.
Yeah, one girl see me at the Lost in Time concert. Big up yourself, protege, anyway. So she see me and she's like, oh, I see you wearing the jersey. That means you believe. I'm like, yeah, man. Of course, in Grimmy we trust right now.
Yeah, let's get that on a shirt right now, folks. In Grimmy we trust.
Grimmy we trust.
Can you imagine, folks? Can you imagine sinking 2026 qualification in Grimmy we trust? And let's not forget, it's a forward a yard. That phrase right here on 876 Stream. And the Gold Cup is coming up quite soon, and we'll get to that certainly in the future as time progresses. So folks, let's kick things off with our discussion. We have 4 topics that we're going to discuss today. We're going to talk about the Reggae Boyz. We're going to talk also about the Reggae Girlz. We'll also have some discussion as it relates to the JPL ins and happenings. And finally, we'll kick things off with what's happening across the Atlantic over in England as well. 2 Manchester United fans and a Manchester City fan is here as well. So let's see what Jeff has to say here and that matter as well. But that coming up in the back end of the show. Firstly, Jamal, Jeff and I were at the local, kick launch quite recently, where, we got to see some local players strut their stuff in the kit. Nicholas Hamilton, a good friend of the show, and, he was able to wear the kit. We saw the different designs, the jacket, and also the away kit. And basically, local fans gave their feedback about it, because we spoke about it last time about a launch in London, but locally, finally, fans getting an opportunity to see it. Coach Hallgrímsson had a few words to say as well. And one of the things that stood out amongst those that were there was his words in relation to the pitches on the island. Your thoughts about what he had to say, and when he made mention to the quality of the surfaces on the island versus the upkeep and maintenance of pitches, grounds in other sports on the island?
I can tell you this, right? Because I've played this sport for a long time and at different levels. And the only place, and I tell you, the only place I've ever been and realized what actually goes into keeping a ground together was when I was in high school going to George's and Winchester Park, which is immaculately kept. That took a lot of work. It's regular, you see people like the ground staff out there working on it. There was a time when they actually dug it up to I think they put some soil underneath it for water retention or the lack thereof, whatever it was. But they treated it, and you couldn't make mistakes. Say I go walk by Winchester Park, that's almost a punishable offense by death. You get me? Because the grounds has to be well prepared, well kept. That's not something that you see pretty much anywhere else. Now the club I played for, I happened to play my home matches at George's,
Right.
So for me, I was able to play on that field a lot, Winchester Park. But I've been to other grounds. Have you ever been? You know that place down by Waterfront, what them called Breezy Castle?
I've been there twice. Yes, that's an experience.
It's dreadful. It's awful. It's a terrible ground. You get me?
Wow.
Like, and this is the Constant Spring, somewhere that a lot of people would have memories of going to watch
Absolutely.
football.
Major League, Super League, everything.
And even schoolboy football
and even
as well.
schoolboy, yes.
Dreadful. You don't
sad.
want to go up there when rainfall, because like after that, it's just like pigs slopping around in mud. It doesn't even make sense to play football out there most times. And this is the kind of standard that we have the football being played on. A lot of times we talk about ball roll, sweet. You know, when you watch some football like overseas and such, that's literally impossible out here. Because the ball roll 2 times, then it a stone, and then drop in one ditch, and then it get catch by the grass. You get me? You don't get the chance to actually play proper football. I think, like, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure even the National Stadium isn't actually a top-ranked field. It's literally just a case where this is the best that we can do. And so they decided to stick with it.
Certainly some room for improvement where the stadium is concerned. It meets FIFA standards, but certainly it's not the ilk that you would normally see the Old Traffords and the Anfields, etc. But certainly
it's very small as well.
It is in terms of the dimensions of it, because as you're aware, when it was built a century ago, it's an athletic stadium.
Yeah.
So originally it was built for the CAC games in the 30s and also the Commonwealth games in the 60s. Right. So very little work has been done from the maintenance standpoint of things. Of course, the Minister of Sport, Olivia Grange, has spoken about plans in relation to improvements that will be made to it, perhaps having a museum and a mural of all the athletes that have done so well for the country, removing the cycle track and increasing the spectator capacity of the stands, and having a well-functioned media center end suited with Wi-Fi and Ethernet and all of those things. So those are in the pipelines. COVID put those things on the back burner for a little while.
Because they had started with the track as well, and that was the intention to build out from there. Actually, didn't we have a conversation where we were talking about what would be some good places to invest in as well?
Absolutely, yes. We, as folks, as you remember as well, do check out the videos we had now streaming Qatar, where we had some valuable discussions in relation to venues and so on and so forth. So if Jamaica was to host, say, an Under-17 World Cup, they would need 3 venues in particular. National Stadium almost taken care of. Then you think of Montego Bay Sports Complex. You could fix up Jarrett Park or Stadium East, then the possibility exists. So yes, you're right.
Yeah. And then part of it too, right? Adding to that point by Grimmy, you have the fact that the options too aren't very many. Because as you mentioned, 3 stadiums a while ago, 2 of them are in the same part of the country, and then 2 are literally next to each other. You get me? Stadium East and National Stadium. When you're talking about a proper stadium, it's more than just the grass that's there. You need also the infrastructure, and that goes beyond even the stadium itself. Because you're talking about the media center and connectivity and capacity and all of that stuff. Which, by the way, kudos to our stadium, because I mean, when you get 35,000 or so in that stadium, it actually does have a really good atmosphere.
Right.
So that's really nice. If you can get something close to those kind of numbers elsewhere, that'd be fantastic. But then you have to consider too what that means in terms of traffic. You get me? And that's like that simple thing in terms of logistics oftentimes get overlooked, because they'll just throw a stadium somewhere and not think for a second how the crowds move in and out. Because we're talking about 35,000 people that would be crammed into the stadium when it's full anyway. And all of those 35,000, one way or the other, have to get there to the different venues to get to the national the different avenues to get to the National Stadium. Now, the good thing is that you have roads coming from north, south, east, probably not west, but you get me, you have roads coming from all over that feed into that one space. But the traffic flow doesn't get improved, right? You still have a narrow, skinny road leading up to the stadium, and it only opens up right as you get to the entrance of it, by which time there's a bunch of people and cars coming in anyway, right? You don't want a wider road, which they can widen out there, or you want better control of the traffic flow. If it's even shuttling people from...
So like you want to run for MP, Jamal.
I'm just saying, bro.
Look into it, my boy. Take in the politics.
I'm just saying, like, it's because that's the thing, right? Grimmy is touching on a point that a lot of people don't pay attention to out here, and it's like it's those little things that actually make the difference.
Funny enough, I actually think a lot of persons pay attention to what he's saying.
To the
or
field,
to the field thing.
Yeah, but why I say that is because even in Iceland, right? Iceland, they're a country of fire and ice. You get me? They either have a volcano going on at the moment or they have an avalanche or something. Right?
And that is the reality, folks.
And you get me?
That is no exaggeration.
And the thing is, they can't maintain a proper field because of the conditions.
So they build some, not
artificial.
Artificial
12 of them.
indoor stadiums.
Wow.
That's what they have.
And
They have artificial indoor stadiums.
What's Iceland economy looking like?
They have the same population as the parish of
I'm
Clarendon.
not talking about the population. So that means they have less people. So that means
Much less.
So if them probably have the budget of a entire island, but the people, the population of a parish,
Right.
basically. So them can manage themselves. So them
Yeah,
can,
no.
I mean, after them pay for food and light and health and them
light.
something there, them can just rest put in a football.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But what it required, even before all of that, was the decision to do that.
True.
And that is the thing, is that kind of cultural reset that's needed.
Greenbar said him look on the pitch them and them poor, but then you drive down the road and you see some golf course clean.
Yeah.
So like we just need to get Rosal and Riot and them people that invest in some
Cinnamon Hill.
football field.
And that's what I say, take the cultural reset, because you gotta do something for the white man can come play some golf. But do something for the country can get better in football. And then the same maintenance with that thing.
All races play golf, but I get your point.
Good, good
But Jev, you got the handshake from Jev. He's like,
no,
morning,
man,
Javon.
I'm going to tell you this. I don't know if Simon want to bust the secret in here. See, right now, I'm going to tell you this. The most valuable person to Jamaica football and Jamaica growth right now. Development. First, Heimir Hallgrímsson. Second, Simon breaking news Preston. I'm telling you. Simon, it's come here we go. Simon, here we go, Preston. I'm telling you.
Somebody said in the comments, saying Simon nothing going with football, them know say something is brewing. What is brewing, Simon?
Brewing, I'm telling you. See this man right here, national treasure. That's why him get the Prime Minister Youth Award. Him never tell us him get one. Way back them time, them leave now the great, him now the good things them time.
Yeah,
You know.
the
Know him start the great, I know him start. You see him start the excellent. You see it, levels to it, you know. Pick up yourself, Simon. Jamaica needs you. Thank you. I thank you.
much appreciated, guys. Yeah, plans are being put in place for the upcoming calendar year, you could say. And Coach Grimmett spoke about it in the presser as well, about a calendar of events, even in a non-FIFA window, to ensure that we have matches in place.
Of course.
Because there's such limited time. Because after Gold Cup, Nations League again, and then Copa America, and then World Cup qualifying. So you have very little opportunities for friendlies. And he needs that to look at, especially the domestic-based players.
Definitely.
So that is something that is being ironed out for this calendar year in particular. And of course, being able to expand the player pool as well. That is an important facet. But he said time is very limited. So less than a year to get a team ready for the qualifiers. So we don't want to do it a situation where we're giving a player a debut in a World Cup qualifier.
Yeah, you're right, exactly.
Something that happened in the last campaign.
Or what name? Friendly just before qualifiers.
But
that happened too. The Peru game.
Do we really need to expand the player pool, Simon? I mean, we not have how much person ever wear a Jamaica jersey right now. No, enough. Say those roll the dice or eat me and want pick a side or something. I don't know. I mean, if I expand, we'll probably get some younger players, maybe.
Correct.
Yeah, but then some people too probably never get a look in properly either.
True.
More of a chance.
Brother, as I say, I feel like I say this every week. You know, straight say, Grimmy, I'm my uncle. But just like the man, him just genuine and honest. Cause coach would come and tell us, say, yo, the picture foolish, you know. You know, just worry could it card. You know, they want to be politically correct, but it must be politically honest. You see me?
True.
And I mean, I imagine, you know, I'm not privy to the conversations that brought him here, but I can only imagine that they got him in and had a discussion regarding how can we get better. In the same way that Simoes, when he came back in 98, it wasn't just simply to come out. It actually came in as a, what do you call it, initially? Yeah, right. That's what he came in as initially.
Right.
You get me? He, like I guess Grimmy is doing now, was brought in to help bring the football up a notch. Like, from more than just what happens on the field but also in terms of what needs to happen so that the sport can grow.
Also, it looked like Grimmy just wanted a challenge. It's like, yeah.
He said something like that when he just.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine other teams didn't want him, you know, with bigger budgets, better
Wasn't he
facilities.
in the UAE at one point? The man
He was in Qatar.
In Qatar, right?
Yeah.
Then could I get some serious oil money?
Yeah, but the man I say, yo, him all the chat and him say, him look upon the possibilities,
the potential.
the pool of players that we have. Yeah, me I say, yeah, man, I like that. You know, I don't want them brother who just want to jump on the group project and do nothing. He want to be the leader. Make him know, say, so anything, this step on the resume, him take Jamaica at the second World Cup, yeah. So I know.
Yeah. And folks, he's a good dentist as well. So when he gets his practice up and running, we'll be smiling all the way to the World Cup. Trust me.
That's good.
A wonderful time to look forward to. Yeah, folks. So we had, spoke briefly about the Reggae Boyz. We're going to touch slightly now on the Reggae Girlz side of things. They went down under for 3 internationals quite recently. They took on the Spanish, the former colonizers of Jamaica for 161 years, the Czech Republic, and also Australia as well, the Matildas. 3 defeats. That will be on face value the surface that everybody looks toward. But Jeff, let me start with you on this one. Again, Rachel Jones is making all of these waves and knocking on the door every week, louder and louder.
I'm gonna tell you
and
this.
it's going to be hard not to keep her out of that 23.
I'm gonna tell you this. My name, Coach Donaldson.
Yeah.
Look like a genius now, you know. Cause to my understanding, she used to train with him over in the States or something like that.
Yeah.
Is it? And when she say, yo, she'll switch over to JA and thing, the man just even waste no time, him just send her in and at the first game, bro, like if you wouldn't have to like no ball. From me just insert on the pitch. Presence immediately, like literally doing what wingers do. She's winging it. Great winger. You see, boom. Service. I say imagine, because right now I tell you, say Bunny has scored all like 8 of them now, you know. So I say imagine Bunny on the other at the service from Rachel Jones. I'm telling you. If anything, right now I don't even want to talk too much and then the Australian team them and the Spanish team them see the podcast and start study on a workout of a lockdown Rachel. You see? No man, I'm very excited to see a full solid or best 11. You see it? And see how them play. I mean, that need to happen soon still to kind of get the chemistry.
Right.
I mean, them go play down under in Australia. And them play some big side, to be very honest.
Oh, yeah, because that's exactly what I was thinking a while ago.
Yeah, them play some big side. I mean, and them put them all on. Them you see a few good time and you see a few alright. Them just come off a plane yesterday. You could have seen them never terrible. Them could have get worse. Could have they talk about a 10-0 defeat. You know. But I like the team. Right now, I don't think we're short. I see me not Reggae Boyz. I don't say we're short talent. We just need like a chemistry. I mean, coach still has switch up the lineup right now. I mean, if you ask few people, them think the switch up time should have been done. You know, but hey, I never coach aside in my life. You see, you know, I'm going to say my bad mind. You know, I'm going to say, I never play money. I lose off topic. You know what I'm going to say, I don't know the ball, but I'm saying, you know, I feel like we're getting to that point. We need to start see the full team. We should have see the full 10 or the close to the 10. Because since Bonnie staying in England because she want to rock up the goals and big up yourself, Bonnie, I don't know, at 3+1.
That's right. 2 times 2.
That is it. So, thing is, alright, with Bonnie know our job. You know, I mean, no disrespect to the other player them, but if we know who for game sure, it's Khadija Bonisha. You see it? So, and she know her role as a striker, and we can talk her through it, and she can just plug her in and she do her thing. Boom. Everybody else know around her, we need to figure out how to work the system. And coach are doing thing, and I'm very excited to see what we're doing. And it's looking good. We have some great pieces. We have to figure out the defense. The keeper is pretty sure, even though I wish Bex was a like 2-inch taller, but you play very big, no problem. We're looking good.
Yeah, because as Jeff said, we played some very good teams. I mean, Spain was one of the better performers at the last World Cup.
And still top 10 in the world.
Australia as well is a very good team. What I think is important is that we were able to compete in these games. Because when we watched the World Cup in 2019, it was a good experience for the girls, and you kind of you almost had to remind yourself of that throughout the disappointment. Because then you're watching and you really want them to do something, but then you remember, oh, it's a young team, it's a good experience for them. So you know, it's like when they like you kind of smile through the pain. So it's like, it's a good experience, but you know, you really want them to do something.
Right.
Come 4 years on now, and they're really able to do something. I mean, yes, it ended up in 3 defeats, but as we know, this was a team that is very much, you know, being prepared as opposed to is ready. You know, as we mentioned, we didn't have our heavy hitter, and there are a few other people as well who didn't make the team, who were initially in the team, right? What it did do though was give us an opportunity to see some of those, I wouldn't say other players because that would be disrespectful. I just mean like players that we still don't know a lot about and probably aren't fully accustomed to yet.
Right.
You know, even if they had names that we recognize, what we don't have is actually their, you know, like a gauge of what they're capable of doing. So with the competition in Spain, in Australia, and in the Czech Republic being what it is, you know, top level, they were able to get some proper game time before the World Cup. So, you know, they're not going into the World Cup playing the toughest games they've ever played.
Right.
They played tough games already.
And they know the conditions as well.
And the conditions, yes, exactly. So, you know, I think it was, it's one of those times where it's like, you have to remind yourself, yeah, all right, this was a friendly, this is not the end result, this is basically the building process. And if you just take the notes based on those things, it was a good mini tour.
And the two great takeaways from this tournament is, one, they played the best, some of the best in the world, and two, they played where they want to play the World Cups, and they kind of get the conditions and, you know, figure out, you know, or the atmosphere stay, you know which part of the bathroom there, you know, them little things, you know,
Well said.
Yeah,
exactly. Yes, folks. So as you know, the World Cup itself is going to be July 20 to August 20. As we draw closer to the tournament as well, we, the team of Stream, will also put together our 23 as well, which 23 should make the World Cup squad. And we'll also get some good help from our good friend Kev as well for that insight as well. We'll break it down. We'll give you guys your thoughts as well. We'll have the pool of players. But I can tell you, if it's going to be hard for us, it's going to be hard for Lauren Donaldson as well.
Definitely.
That 23, oh my days. I'm sure he's having sleepless nights right now. I'm taking sleeping pills just to fall asleep because the different dimensions that he's brought. Tiffany Cameron, folks, she played at right back against arguably the second best team in the world in Australia. So that's another dilemma right there.
You know, Simo, I would talk about this even the first time I see her play right back on Mobile.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to use the weapons because it's a good weapon, you know. But to be honest, I mean, who play right?
Chaina Matthews,
Yeah, you know, so it's like Tiffy probably could have played right back, but Matthews probably could have played right back. If you get me,
that is facts.
You see, but we want the two weapons on the field, so I will keep the two weapons on the field and still making them be actual weapons.
Yeah. If you have a tenacious winger who is good at tracking back and at least holding their position, in the right system, you can just play them at the fullback position.
I mean, Tiffy, I'm a general, but you not take Rachel wing in that. Me I tell you, I'm a general. Just I tell you that straight up and down.
And actually, one of our strong points on the team is the defense. So genuinely, if you have Tiff playing there with the idea at all times being that she can get forward,
like a Danny Alves type of vibe, you see.
But and then you have a Puyol and well, back in the day, PK for kind of
steady the ship,
to steady the ship, exactly. Yeah. And then a good DM too, which is something that we still talk about. So if we have a good DM as well who can shuttle cross to kind of cover for her space, that also helps.
I eat that. Tiffy Alves, I'm seeing it.
It can work. It can work. Yeah.
You need versility in every squad.
You need versatility, yeah.
If me have a wing back we can defend and good in going forward.
Because even when you want to spread the play now, China can come inside and get and crowd the space. You get me, like come in like that. Then it's pretty good on the other side as well. So then can stay wide, Tiff stay wide. Rachel and Chenya come in, and so now you have basically a 3 with Bunny.
Kind of like,
can swing in crosses and things.
Kind of like, right now, the best right back we have right now for Reggae Boyz are Javine. Is it good offensively, solid defensively. Sometimes him kind of overzealous and him make a tackle and then he put the whole defense in a problem, but still solid. Solid. Yeah. What's that about, brother? I'm sure I wear my jersey today, man.
Yeah,
man. Can wear it next time, no problem. Yeah, folks, before we move on, just picture this in your brain. Bonnie Shaw, Jodie Brown, Tiffany Carman, Kayla McKenna, Shayna Matthews, Shadea Damalekan, Kiki Van Zanten, and doesn't stop there. Soleil Washington. We haven't talked about Siobhan Wilson. That's 9 players right there, and there's so much more. Again, ponder that in your brain, because it's going to be hard to fit everybody in. So the versatility, as the guys have said, extremely critical. So we're going to go back locally right now and talk a little bit of action from the Jamaica Premier League. A bit general, as there's been some talking points that I would love the feedback of the panel that we have for today. Jamal, let me start with you on this one. So locally, we've seen quite a number of double headers across the island in the JPL, and also different venues being used. Some clubs not using their home venue. We know the reasons, but to get your feedback of it, because the football purist loves it. If Manchester United is playing Arsenal, that game is at Old Trafford, versus you having 4 teams coming to one venue for a particular game. Do you look at it as how, the administrators look at it as economies of scale, or otherwise?
I'm a football purist myself, and I can tell you that that's just belly aching about nothing, because there's no money, the fields are garbage, and economies of scale for sure, and logistically, it makes sense what they're doing right now. Is it the best way to play football in terms of not having someone go to their home stadium or whatever? No. But is it what works for what we are and what we have? Yeah, I think so. It's not great, right? In the same way, Iceland would have wanted to play football outdoors, but they can't. It's dangerous, so they play it indoors. You get me? It's just that simple. So
fix up on the field, man. That's simple. Fix up on the field, and then we can play the game.
Here's the one thing I would say though, because I have thought about this a few times, having gone to Ireland to go watch a number of games.
All right.
I just wish they be the administration, were able to kind of bring the fans there. You get me? So instead of you complaining about, them not play at home, yeah, because over there is not the best place to play football anyway. But those are the fans. Get the fans in the stadium. I mean, we look at the stadium sometimes and it's empty, or it's the Tony Spalding complex, it's empty, or it's not as full as it could be. There's a lot of empty seats. Why not get some people from the other club that's playing, the other clubs that are playing, to come in? I think that would help. That would help kind of ease that feeling that people are having, saying that it's not really, because you compared Arsenal and Man U game, right? Like Old Trafford is the locals would tell you it's falling to pieces, but it still sits 75,000. It's still historic, and it still has a fantastic pitch, right? It doesn't matter if it's falling apart, so long as it doesn't fall apart during the 90 minutes, I'll be fine. You get me? And you take it again next weekend. Out here, that's not the case for any of those things, any of the stadiums that we have playing in. Even Ireland. Ireland isn't the best place to play football, but for one reason or the other, it was chosen. And like I said, for what we have working with it, it works as best as it can.
For what we have, that's why Ireland works.
Yeah, that's the whole caveat.
It's one of the best we have. Yeah, I have a few hot takes for the JP. I love local football as is right now. I've been watching it since last season. You don't be walling, you don't know Harbourview winning it.
Lions, yeah.
I have a few brethren. I'm a brethren, like my brethren them play for my Lions, so I can say, hey man, all of them, you see.
Okay.
Portmore, my place, my hold the trophy already. You see, plug the picture here. Yeah, my hold the trophy already, so I know say local ball. But right now, watching the yesterday's match, that February 27th, is the Monday night football between Waterhouse and Arnett. What that match told me was half of the league to get regulated, to be very honest.
Relegated?
Because Arnett and Waterhouse play a ball. Them play a ball, and the game done 1-0. I'm never disappointed. The game done 1-0, and never did some excellent saves, some excellent striking, some one-touch move. Yeah, me see Dutch ball game a play ball, boom, boom, bam. Winger wide in the field, but then it was a double header. And before that, I watched Dunby and Harbourview play. I mean, there were a few you know, sparks of brilliance. Well, I don't know if I make up organize like the Waterhouse on it much.
Yeah.
You see, I don't know if make up organize like the Waterhouse on it much. So really and truly, me I say, oh, some of them team enough in the top league. They send them down a Casa for our country, so I don't know whatever the next league, the league under JPL. Is it and keep the top team in the league. I just run some ball game. And the way them feel that the ball game will even get more competitive because them know say what? Half of the league get relegated. Yeah. But I have to keep it up.
Well, that's actually because what you're referring to now is the kind of thing that I had mentioned to in regards to how we can revamp schoolboy football, which is if you have everybody that is playing on a similar level, playing each other instead of playing, you know, some whipping boys every other game, you improve the quality that way, right? But more on the topic, the fact that, as I mentioned, what was it? It was the money, right? It was the logistics, right? It was the field conditions. If we talk about the money, right? I don't think they're making a lot of money from the Arnett games anyway, to be fair, right? But I don't know if they'd make any if they went to other places. The reason they can't go to Draxall is because it's Draxall. You get me? The reason they can't go to Arnett is because it's right there, it's central, right? But if they were supposed to like take games, go out Prison Oval and then place it, right? And try to go to some of these other far-flung places. I mean, Harbourview has a good mini stadium, yes, but it kind of far still. On a Monday night, for go watch a Harbourview match, right? If you're not actually from the community. You get me? So it's like, I can understand the thinking at the time, saying that, well, if we carry the football here, it's easier to kind of centralize that, right? But the money that it takes to go to the different places each time, and that money isn't there. Chris Williams was balling about that the other day, about the fact that they added 2 new teams with the same amount of limited money that was there before, so it's stretched even thinner. And 2 beating stick to the league, brother. You get me? And it's stretched even thinner. The only outside of playing it at Arnett, I would say maybe it could have been better if they went to like a Stadium East. You get me? Because that's already a central, even more central location, and you know the stuff that needs to be in place for hosting a game is pretty much already there at Stadium. The only difference is that you don't get stands all around the pitch. That's the only thing that's there. But I mean, if they're gonna be empty half the time, anyways, you know what I mean. But I don't see a problem with. Well, let me not say I don't see a problem. I understand the reasoning behind why we're doing what we're doing now, and as far as making a big issue about anything else, I don't think it's worth it. All they're doing now is just causing contention for nothing because it doesn't achieve anything.
The next thing the one them complain about are the early match then. They must say for schoolboy match them, why match I play at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock? Because if like people don't leave work and come much. I mean, I don't know the science behind that. Maybe we can get somebody from the JPL to come tell me why.
Should.
But I mean, I get it. I
can
get it.
Talk to Marshall in the film department now.
Marshall and Owen. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it, but you know, we feel I thought. I mean, we're trying. I like the effort.
Yeah.
I like I said, I never really used to watch out the ball game like one time. But now I start watching. Me can pick some team that makes sense. We can pick some team that makes sense. To be very honest, come again next year, guys. But yeah, we're in a good place right now. We can look on 2 number 9. Right now in a league and say them man if you go straight in a black, green and gold and play against Trinidad come March. You see? Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, so the I think part of it too is that, remember, we've been kind of doing this system, this format for a little bit now because we were at UE for the longest while. You get me?
Right.
I think that's probably where the problem lies for these people, these purists as they call them. The trouble is probably more the fact that it's been so long since they've been able to watch their team at home, more than it is what they're doing don't make sense or it's not right or whatever, because it's what you have to do. And otherwise from that, it's just what it is because of where we are.
Yeah, because what you find is that different clubs, they have a supporters group and a supporters trust, and the supporters trust puts together the transportation, whether it's by bus or train, to go and follow the team for the away game. So a Harbourview that has a game down at Arnett, they could get a bus together, a coaster, 20, 30 fans, and be able to take those fans to Arnett. Something to consider at the end of the day.
Something to also consider. I mean, although we're not talking about Reggae Boys, but something to also consider for our national team. You see, like one thing I admire about Mexico. Anyway, Mexico, they, you know,
Yeah, there's always
Mexican fans, them, they, you know,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
see.
yeah,
So
yeah.
take some of my Adidas money, put in a little travel kit fund, you know. See if we can fly out some of my people, them, go some of them match here, or carry them down a mobile for something. Yeah, I'm just saying, but yeah, good point with the JPL thing. Same thing. I mean, yeah, trump up some fans. Care the people, the people them want to go to the matches, but them fellas can't get there.
Yeah, it might be easier to get the fans in than actually to get the stadium or the fields up to par.
Yeah, especially immediately, yeah, in the short term. Something to consider, folks. Well, we had our thoughts as it relates to the JPL. What's happening over in England, folks? Well, the first trophy has been lifted, and it's for a team in red. Not City, but Manchester United lifting the League Cup, their first trophy in 6 years.
I'm going to tell you, the man, whenever they want to talk about this today, I don't know all this dropping their podcast, or in an 876 Stream third podcast. Like,
We talk football. We talk football. It's a podcast and we talk football. We don't discriminate.
It's interesting, man. You know, so enough Man U fans are wagonists, they're Jamaica, so we have to talk about it. And come on. Jeff, you have to appreciate.
Apple phone, I'm not going to
you have to appreciate what
I don't really want to win nothing too tough, but I like when Man U competitive. It
Jeff,
make the league nice.
Jeff, man, just done university and we last win a trophy, you know. A long time, you know.
Been a minute for
The
real.
league nice how they play good. Come watching the play. I want to play what they Champions League.
Europe. Barca.
I'm playing a nice ball game.
That was a very good game.
Nice game.
The whole tie was very good.
I was very excited. Me almost that cheerful. You see, Russia, I get into it and I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you guys.
That's
So I remember when Solskjaer was on his last legs at United, and there was talk about who to bring in instead.
Right.
I'd written an article describing what the next Manchester United manager should be like, or you know,
his profile, yeah.
just the profile.
Yeah.
I genuinely was just writing the profile. And literally by the time I finished writing the profile, I said, hold on a second. And I realized that fits Eric Ten Hag perfectly.
Yeah.
I said, well, somebody needs to call the man and let him know that there's a job waiting for him in England. Man comes around, first trophy on offer, I'll take it. You know what I mean? Love to see it. As a United fan anyway. Jerry probably blood a boil over there.
No, not really. 2 trophies. I love more this year. Two. Look how much time I win Carabao Cup, the tea cup. Brother, you can't hold it and mix some Milo in it.
That is when they win it.
Of course, me still call it tea cup. Mix some Milo and Alex in that. You see?
So just the European one.
Yeah, right now. We just make the little English race, the Arsenal City race. It's good for the debtors, you know, it's good for the people.
You know, I get that Champions League they're
Oh, the nitrous oxide for Arsenal going to finish.
We didn't want to talk about that, you know, because we don't know how the man them go draw. Anyway, let go that. But
it takes a certain... you see, this is the thing, you know, it takes a real... it's pedigree to it, you know.
Pedigree.
Like, you know, it's not something tangible, brother. You can't look on pedigree and say, oh, see it there. But trust me, you know it when you see it. In that same Barca Man U game you talk about, right? that was a Europa League game.
And you saw the pedigree.
I can give brother, of two European giants, right? When I watch even Liverpool and Real Madrid, as much as Liverpool get robbed out,
you still saw the pedigree.
Because they came out on a European night against Real Madrid and said, who cares? And went out and played football. They lost handsomely, but you know they were playing their football. That is something that Leipzig never did against City. But then at the same time, City didn't dominate the game that the way they should have. You get me? These are the kind of things. Even Tottenham against Milan. Milan kind of falter from them recent successes, but they're still Milan, and Tottenham is still only Tottenham. So they were able to get past them. You get me? Pedigree matters, dog. Like it's like me say, you can't put your hand on it and say I hate that, but you can see it when you see it.
Good point. I agree.
Do you feel like the team is back, or there's still a few more kinks that Eric Ten Hag still has to accomplish first season, and it feels like a 180-degree turn?
Oh man, it's a complete turnaround. As to whether or not I think there are other things, depth in the squad, I think would be important. So there was this thing like with City, it was so annoying watching them just in general, but then also when you consider that the man them would have a Bernardo on the field and Pep saying, nah, feel it. Sane, go on. Nah, feel it. Sterling, go on. Nah, feel it. Morris, go on. Like, it's so upsetting. Like, you sit down here and say, oh, how the man them even manage? I mean, mind it, that's in disrepute right now, but you wonder how the man them even managed to get all these guys in and then keep them all competitive and keep them, like, so ready to perform at any given time. And I looking across at my team, I always wondered how we'd ever get back to that point. Not even get back to that point, because we were never really that team. We were just, a unit more than anything else. You get me? So it didn't matter who came on. Fergie just, I don't know, injecting at them blood, but them just know that Manu them a play for them play some football.
Are you saying we should drug test Manu players?
Absolutely not. No. It's about heart, soul, and passion, and Anderson and Cleverley and John O'Shea,
right?
And Phil Jones.
But with Ten Hag in the team, what it looks like is there's a culture now where it don't matter who you are, you have to prove your game, and then on top of which, if you're not play, you just have to go get yourself back into the team. It's not a matter, I'm not play, and it's grumpy faces and everybody upset and beer information leak and all that from the dressing room. No, Wan-Bissaka bench for months. Them man they can't see a football pitch. But the dog come on in the League Cup final and tell St. Maximan say man a baller. You get me? I shoot my ground and say, if I mess up. And that man never play no football much. You get me? You have other players who they would have been the guy for a while, but like it's like it doesn't matter. All is equal under the coach at Ten Hag. You get me? And so with that, I feel like we have a good atmosphere now where we can bring in some top talent, not just, who we can get, but actually attract some top talent, get them in, and then the fact that there's more talent around the squad, like in the whole squad, actually is a good thing, and it doesn't become, how we're going to keep them happy and how everybody, you get me? So I'm really happy with where the squad is right now. Maybe you can still trim the fat a little bit. And then in addition, you can get in some better quality players. And once we get that, or them, I think more or less unstoppable. At this point anyway, of course, I can be humbled by the end of the season when we only have the League Cup in our hands.
Yes.
It's exciting. Yeah?
I'm on my movie, so hope and pray, That's the thing set, straight, Season are done. 1 down, 4 to go. 3 to go.
I still believe we can win the Europa League. And I'm not certain about the league for obvious reasons.
You mean not certain? No, we
let's go easy, brother. I'm not certain about the league for obvious reasons, but
Europa and the FA Cup.
I feel like the FA Cup, because it's a knockout competition, right?
Right.
On our day, we can beat any team.
Wow.
Any team.
Yeah, on our day.
We never sold so couple years ago.
What was there to cheer about?
It's on me.
Bro,
only at the wheel and BS.
I never said that.
I'll admit, I said it, yeah. I said it.
I never said. Yeah. We sat on this podcast, and I said it many times. Like, you get me? Kudos to what he did, though. And of course, when you really look back at it in retrospect, you realize, the fact that the man actually able to do what he did must have. There was something going right. But no, I don't think we can do the league yet. FA Cup, Europa League, United. United is back, bro. Look out for it.
One step at a time. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in to the episode number 2 of the Third Half podcast. That's the final whistle for right now. Guys, if you haven't already, hit the like button and also subscribe to 876 Stream right here on YouTube. And also check out our social media handles as well. On Twitter, Stream876. And on Instagram, 876 Stream. On behalf of Jev, Jamal, and myself, take care. Episode 3 coming up quite soon.